Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Picture a guy named Curtis. He's been sitting on the sidelines for a staggering 18 months, just waiting for the Federal Reserve to finally cut interest rates so he can refinance his house. He knows the meeting dates, he watches the announcements, and when the Fed finally does make a cut, he eagerly opens his laptop to pull a new quote. But instead of relief, his quoted rate just hit a massive 5.27%. And this is happening while the Fed rate sat down at 3.75%. He checks other lenders thinking, maybe he's getting ripped off, but they all come back with the exact same numbers. Why? Well, it's because Curtis is caught up in a deeply misunderstood economic machine.
So the crucial point here is that Curtis is holding on to a massively expensive myth. It is literally the most widespread belief in American personal finance, and it's reinforced by practically every single financial headline you've ever read. The idea is that the Federal Reserve sets your mortgage rate, and when their rate goes down, your borrowing costs naturally just follow right along. It's a really neat, comfortable story. But today, we are going to completely dismantle that myth. And I promise you, once you see exactly where the machinery breaks down, you're going to read every single financial headline differently for the rest of your life.
To figure out how this machine is broken, we first have to understand what's actually real. You see, the Fed doesn't have some magical dial in a back room in Washington. They absolutely cannot force a bank to make a loan at a specific price. Instead, they enforce their will through a massive checkbook. They set a target called the federal funds rate, which is just the rate banks charge each other to lend money overnight. Basically, the Fed just offers a 3.5 to 3.75% floor to banks for parking their money with zero risk and zero effort. Because banks can get that rate for doing absolutely nothing, no bank on earth will lend to another bank for less. So the rate isn't commanded from the top down, it's established from the bottom up by the best available risk-free alternative.
And this brings us to a brilliant way to picture this. Think of it like a chain that gets progressively weaker the further out in time you stretch it. Overnight money, it follows the Fed perfectly because, well, it has nowhere else to go. Your savings account or a 3-month treasury bill will track the Fed very closely. But a 30-year mortgage, that is a totally different market with a completely different set of concerns. Your mortgage isn't priced off the Fed at all. It's actually priced off the 10-year Treasury note, plus a spread of about 192 basis points, or just under 2%. When the Fed moves, your mortgage basically just shrugs. Let's move over to Ryan, who is looking at a completely different rate sheet at his kitchen table. He's staring at a 30-year fixed rate of 6.65%. Now, Ryan is a smart guy. He knows the Fed has eased by an impressive 175 basis points. That's 1.75%, since September of 2024. He does the mental math, and it just doesn't make any sense. His 6.65% rate is actually higher today than the 6.58% it averaged this exact same week 1 year ago. The Fed went down, and his mortgage went up. Guys, this isn't a glitch, and it's not some weird lag. It is the mechanism working exactly as it was built to.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the exact inciting incident where this whole illusion just shattered. For about 4 decades, when the Fed started a cutting cycle, long-term yields usually fell too. That's mostly because the Fed cuts when the economy is weakening, so bond buyers naturally flock to safety. But then came September of 2024. The Fed dropped its policy rate by a full 1% over a really short window. And in that exact same window, the 10-year Treasury yield, the rate that actually prices your real life, went the total opposite direction by practically that exact same amount.
That incredible 2% divergence, that is the exact moment the chain visibly snapped. A 40-year historical pattern just broke. And honestly, it hasn't gone back. It is the definitive, absolute proof that the Federal Reserve does not and cannot set the long rate. So, if the most powerful financial institution in the world isn't setting it, who exactly is? Well, the answer is honestly stranger than any conspiracy theory you've heard. The answer is nobody sets it. Instead of some secret cabal in a smoky room, the price of money is discovered in very public Tuesday auctions. The U.S. Treasury announces, hey, we need to borrow money, and millions of buyers show up. We are talking about pension funds trying to secure retiree payouts for 30 years, life insurance companies, foreign central banks, and even indirectly, you through your retirement accounts. Every single one of these buyers is answering one small private question. Is this bond, at this price, the best use of my funds? And when you ask millions of buyers to lock up their money for a decade or more, they demand something called a term premium. This is basically the extra yield buyers require purely for the risk of committing money across a timeline that literally nobody can forecast. I mean, think about what a dollar might buy in 20 years, right?
The Fed can try to influence the auction, sure. They can signal about the future, but they absolutely cannot dictate the term premium. That number is whatever the buyers say it is. Let's move on and see how this builds into the reality we're facing right now. There are three hard, stubborn arithmetic realities driving yields up that the Fed simply cannot fix with a short-term rate adjustment. First up is supply. The U.S. just crossed a staggering $40 trillion in national debt, with a $432 billion deficit in July alone. More bonds at auction means prices fall and yields climb. Second is competition. Massive tech giants are issuing immense corporate debt to finance AI infrastructure, and they're competing directly for the exact same pool of bond buyers. And third, elevated inflation. It's been running above the Fed's 2% target, meaning buyers demand higher compensation for long-term uncertainty. So all of this incredible pressure boiled over recently, causing the 30-year Treasury yield to hit 5.33%. That is the highest level since 2007. Borrowing costs across the entire economy were surging so fast that the Treasury Department actually felt compelled to step in. They announced they would double the size of their bond buyback operations, stepping in as a buyer to artificially support prices and try to push those yields back down.
And you know what? It worked for barely 48 hours. By Thursday, the entire move had been totally erased. The intervention failed purely because of the math. The government's buyback operation was just $4 billion going up against a $40 trillion national debt. To put that into perspective, that is exactly like a household carrying a $10,000 debt trying to fix it by making a $1 payment. The massive bond market looked at that $1 payment, did the math, and priced the reality accordingly. No way that was going to work.
And to make matters substantially worse, the sheer interest cost on that national debt is running at about $1.2 trillion this year. That represents roughly 2/3 of the entire federal deficit. This means the government is now borrowing massive amounts of money just to pay the interest on the money it has already borrowed. It's wild. And the price of that new borrowing? Well, that's set by those same thousands of private buyers who can clearly see the exact same math we're looking at. For 15 years, the Fed could move trillions of dollars using a tool called forward guidance, which is basically just talking to the markets and telling them where rates were going. But today, the Fed chair literally described his own highly anticipated speech to global central bankers as a blank piece of paper. Listen, an institution that stops promising where rates are going is an institution that has quietly accepted it no longer controls the destination. So this brings us to a highly actionable playbook for your own life. Take a cue from Jasmine here. She completely deleted her Federal Reserve meeting calendar. Just tossed it out. She realized it was totally useless. What she watches now is the free, continuously updated 10-year Treasury yield, because that single number is what your car loan, your credit cards, and your mortgage are actually anchored to. We've got to stop timing our financial decisions around 8 scheduled Fed meetings a year.
If you are sitting on the sidelines waiting to refinance, you must be extremely clear-eyed about what you're actually rooting for, because there are genuinely only 3 things that lower long-term yields. 1, less government borrowing, which, let's be real, is a slow act of Congress, not the Fed. 2, inflation genuinely and sustainably settling down so buyers lower that term premium we talked about. Or 3, a recession. When the economy contracts, money panics and runs to the safety of U.S. Treasuries, which drives yields down fast. It's the most historically reliable way long rates drop, for sure, but it comes firmly attached to job losses and real economic pain. Ultimately, Curtis's mortgage quote isn't going to budge just because of a flashy news headline. The true price of his financial life is determined every single morning in an argument, an auction among strangers deciding what they will charge to lend to a government that desperately needs to borrow. And recently, with real money on the line, the Fed and the Treasury pushed on the market, and the market pushed back and won. If you want to see how this impacts you directly, you can actually run your own numbers using the forecasting models provided in the source material for this explainer. So, let's leave you with this final kind of provocative thought. The Federal Reserve isn't some magical hidden hand pulling the strings of the entire economy. They are just one very loud voice with a very large checkbook, sitting at a table with millions of other investors. Once you finally see that the hidden hand doesn't exist, how will you read the next rate cut headline? And more importantly, when you put your financial life on hold, waiting for rates to drop, who